Good evening. Hi. Hi, you guys. You did come prepared? Yeah, okay.
Had to reach in the back.
I did. Talk later.
I already had the rest of the trees. You were late to get Well, it's 6:30. Want to get started? Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Adoption of agenda. It is recommended that the agenda of the September 12th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented. Motion.
Second.
Vote. Approval of minutes. It is recommended that the minutes of the August 15th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. Vote. Statements or questions from the public? None? Move on. Administrative recommendations. Claims. It is recommended that prepaid and August claims numbered 101731 through 101890 be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
Vote. Personnel. It is recommended that the maternity leave requested by Marilyn Bailey be approved as presented. Motion.
Second.
Vote. It is recommended that Shelby Marshall be hired as a long-term substitute to fulfill a maternity leave.
It's hard to believe that at 25, I'm old enough to have a student, former student, in that role. Shelby got a degree from Ball State. I'm very excited to be working with her this year.
Motion. Second.
Vote. Quotes. It is recommended that the additional quote from Fisher Excavation in the amount of $6,000 be approved to finish the property cleanup west of Fountain Central Junior Senior High School.
No, typically for a quote for that amount, I can sign it. However, last month you approved a certain amount for that property over there. Afterwards, we decided to have all of the trees removed, so there was an additional cost. And rather than just signing it and going on, I want it noted in the record so that State Board of Accounts knows that you don't approve one thing and then I go rogue and do more.
Motion. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that the purchase request from the FCHS Athletic Department for the Huddle Essential Athletic Department package in the amount of $10,100 be approved as presented.
When we first got this, it's when the pandemic hit, and this was a way when people couldn't come to events, they could watch them through the Huddle camera, and it was paid for by ESSER funds. Those funds are gone now, and but we would like to continue with the Huddle camera, so we're hoping to pay for it, some of it through some of the fundraisers that our athletics teams do, perhaps donations from some of our community partners, but this is what the total cost will be after.
Motion.
Second.
We'll go with Amy. Vote. It is recommended that the purchase request from the FCHS Technology Department for additional Chromebooks in the amount of $80,480 be approved as presented. Remaining ESSER funds will be used to purchase devices.
So we are in the last ESSER grant. All of the funds have to be encumbered by September 30th. And we have just under that amount. I think 200 of that will come from our budget. But we're purchasing for next year's device rotation out of the remainder ESSER funds. But we're doing it now so we can encumber it, and then we have to purchase them and spend out that money by December 15th. So this is.
Motion. Second.
Vote. Other business. It is recommended that the donation from the D'Arlier Memorial Trust in the amount of $5,000 for the art departments of Southeast Fountain Elementary and Fountain Central High School be approved as presented.
We are always grateful for our community partners, and D'Arlier has been very good to our district and our fine arts program, and we are very thankful for that.
Motion. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that the Otis Spunkmeyer fundraiser request from the Southeast Fountain Elementary School Student Council be approved as presented.
They will be selling frozen cookie dough and holiday supplies. Their fundraising goal is $3,000, and the purpose of the funds are for T-shirts, field trips, and other incentives.
Motion.
Second. Vote. You thought they had some samples here.
Yeah.
It is recommended that Southeast Fountain School Corporation Board Policy 307, athletic eligibility, be approved as presented.
I presented this last month, so you can have a fresh look, and it was presented in the public board meeting, so others could as well. Mostly the changes are adding some language so that our language matches with the IHSAA policy, the athletic handbook, and our board policy. And the biggest change, actually, the junior high eligibility was more strict than what IHSAA was for the high school. And so we're correcting that so that those policies match with your approval.
Motion.
Second. Vote. It is recommended the corporation amends their payroll plan for all staff by moving from 26 annual pays to 24 annual pays.
This would not begin until January of '25. Again, we've talked about it in discussion. We surveyed all staff, both certified and non-certified staff, and with some different things we wanted to do, but this was something that a clear majority wanted to move to the 24 pays. So the 5th and the 20th of each month, unless, of course, for example, the first one, January 5th is a Sunday, so they would actually get that check on Friday, January 3rd. And as we move to that with certified, we will also, the non-cert, we will still have time cards, and we'll have a new form that they fill out so we can monitor if someone within the week works more than 40 hours, they will still get their overtime pay, even if it falls between two different pay periods this way. But this was something that the majority of the staff agreed. Like I said, we surveyed, we also sent out samples to the certified staff about how it would affect, because there were some questions about, am I going to be hit by more taxes and so forth. So we ran some sample pays, and that was sent out to our certified staff to show them, to answer that question.
Motion. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that the last pay for the current teacher contract will be August 5th, 2025, and the first pay for the 2025-2026 school year will be August 20th, 2025.
So in the past, the last payout for the current school year is that last pay in August, or that second pay in August. And typically what happens then, a new teacher is hired and starts the first week of August and doesn't get their first paycheck then until September. So this will enable us to make that first paycheck on August 20th for those new teachers. They won't have to wait till September. Secondly, insurance, if they signed up for insurance to take that, you pay in a month advance. So they wouldn't even have gotten a check in August to pay for their September insurance. So that meant in September we were double deducting for insurance. So this is going to help us correct some of that. That August 20th, they'll start getting pays and have a paycheck in August to help pay towards September insurance.
So we were basically charging them to be a teacher in the first month.
So it felt like that in some ways.
Motion.
Second.
Is that Kim or?
Yes.
Vote. It is recommended that adult breakfast prices at both Southeast Fountain Elementary and Fountain Central High School reflect a 10-cent increase for an updated cost to staff of $2.85.
So the Department of Education monitors our costs for that. Our lunch costs for adults were fine, but it has to do with that grant that we have for students and what the state is paying for that. You have to then charge adults a certain amount over that. And based on the current amount that the state is paying for that, that's why our breakfasts have to go up by 10 cents.
Motion.
Second. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that the overnight field trip request for the Fountain Central FFA chapter to attend the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis on October 23rd and 24th be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that the overnight field trip request for the Fountain Central FFA chapter to attend the SOAR Leadership Conference in Trafalgar on October 4th through the 6th be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
Vote. It is recommended that Jason Good be approved as a regular route bus driver for the Transportation Department.
So Jason has been a sub on this route since last spring, and he's been doing it for us. And we'd like to make it a permanent route with keeping in mind his first primary role in our district is athletic director. So if there is an event that he needs to be at, then we would have a sub driver on that route for that day. But by taking him off the sub list and putting him on, it affects paying into his retirement fund and things like that, that he really is deserving of getting since he does that.
So is it a shorter route?
It is a shorter route, so he's usually back by 4:00. He's parking his bus, and but like I said, if there's something that's earlier that he has to be back before that, then someone else would run that. Jason Thompson or someone would run the route for that day.
Motion.
Second.
Vote. On to the elementary report.
I want to start with some thank yous first this evening. Part of being Dr. Grimes was discussing passing the audit for paths to quality within the daycare, but we also got for the preschool. We had our yearly audit this year, and thank you to Michaela Muniz, Lisa Parker, Shane Blankenship. We passed with flying colors, so that feels good to check it off for the year. Our school improvement plan is also finished for the year. A big thanks to Angie Young, Amber Carver, and Abby Hoagland who serve on that team. It's a pretty lengthy plan that we complete, so I know it takes a lot of effort on their part, and we really appreciate it. We recently hosted our M&Ms or Mustang Mentors kickoff that includes 34 staff and their mentees. We played in the gym and enjoyed Suzy Q's ice cream, so we appreciate them donating to that. That's also a program Mr. Baines facilitates, so I appreciate all of his hard work in that. Mr. Shaving might talk about it later, but the German exchange students were here, and a big thank you to Ashlyn Geigel, who works in our building, who sponsored that program. It was a lot of work, and I know she was very nervous for them to come and everything to go well, but I think she did it with flying colors. Academically, this year, the Department of Education released new exit criteria for our students in the English Language Learners Program. Prior, they had received a 5.0 rating on the WIDA assessment, which is English mastery, listening, speaking, and reading. They've changed that now that they can receive a lower range of scores, 4.1 through 4.9, and if they have other historical data that shows they're making progress and are on level, we can exit them. So Kathy Deuce is working really hard to have a protocol for our building, and we just had our first meeting this week, so it's exciting to see that growth in our students. We're also getting ready to prepare for the first iLearn checkpoint. iLearn's usually our summative assessment that 3rd through 5th grade in our building takes the end of the year. The state is piloting a checkpoint system, so 3 times a year. We will take smaller assessments that just give formative data to our teachers. It does not count towards any type of accountability. It's just informing us how our students are doing. But they're piloting it this year. It'll be operational next year. So we opted into the pilot so we can see it and experience it and work out all the kinks before we get there. But our first one will take place the week of September 30th. And then lastly, last year, the board pledged that we would have a 95% pass rate on the iRead 3 here in a couple of years. We did receive our final score, and we are at a 91.1% pass rate and first in the conference for 3rd year in a row. So that's really a proud moment for our K through 3 teachers and our resource staff. They do a wonderful job of getting those kids where they need to be. So we look forward to increasing that score this year.
Thank you, appreciate it. High school report.
I'm going to share a couple of items with you this evening. First, I was able to attend my first IHSAA Areas Principals meeting on Wednesday. The meeting was held at Brownsburg High School, and member schools were permitted to bring student athletes to the meeting. Seniors Brayley Hoagland and Gabe McCullum, along with juniors Laney Hoagland and Nolan Acton, attended as FCHS representatives. A goal that Mr. Goodeye shares to begin a student athletic council here at Fountain Central. I'm hopeful that inviting our students to this meeting is a first step in that direction. And then additionally, I recently met with our school improvement team, which was comprised of obviously administrators, teachers in our building, as well as other leaders in our building and our corporation. And we worked together to work on the newest incarnation of our state-required school improvement plan. Part of our task is to set 3 specific goals for school improvement. 2 of those goals, and our primary goals, are centered on academics, namely improving our iLearn performance for students in grades 6 through 8. The 3rd goal is aligned with something that I feel very passionate about, which is taking steps to cultivate leadership traits in our students by providing more leadership opportunities for our high school population. In addition to the Student Athletic Council that I mentioned previously, some additional student leadership initiatives that are to follow include a revamped mentorship program for incoming 6th grade students, kind of working with Mrs. Morgan, Mr. Baines to identify students that may be at risk either academically or behaviorally as they come into our building, attaching them to someone, an upperclassman that can serve as their mentor for a series of years as they enter junior high. Also working on, some of this is tapping into existing organizations like our National Honor Society, our class officers, our student council, but find a way to kind of coordinate a formal student advisory council that has an opportunity to meet with school administrators to share student concerns. Other things that we want to do within these leadership organizations is to improve our current events, like our 6th grade orientation, our back to school night, graduation. Our hope is that these opportunities will provide valuable life skills for our students, but also shed a positive light on our school within the community when we have our students at the forefront of these events. It's just really important to me to elevate our students and put them in leadership positions. So we're excited about that moving forward.
Awesome, thank you. Look forward to that. Moving on to our student report, we've got Bryson Davis and Lydia Perkins. Who wants to go first? Lydia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. September 23rd through 27th is College Go Week at Fountain Central. Ms. Foxworthy has activities planned that will hopefully ignite conversation with students about their post-secondary plans, whether that includes college, workforce, the trades, or the military. There are themed dress-up days planned throughout the week for students and staff. Very exciting. Teachers and staff will post a sign in their rooms indicating the school they graduated from, and each homeroom will be decorating their classroom door in a college theme. The homeroom with the best door will receive a pizza party.
The main event of the week, will be the second annual Senior Day at the Landing. Mrs. Foxworthy has secured various representatives from various colleges and trade schools, employers, and military branches to provide college and career information for our attendees. Our seniors will be treated at lunch that day as well. So thank you to Aramark for providing our meal. And finally, for the first time, Mrs. Foxworthy has arranged for our sophomore and junior classes to be able to attend the event as well. Her goal is to make our underclassmen aware of college and career opportunities earlier in high school to assist in career planning. So we would like to thank Mrs. Foxworthy and her team for taking the time to coordinate this event, and their efforts are appreciated. And for the joke today, I was pretty proud of this one. I found out my neighbor was secretly tapping into my 3 water sources. Well.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Bryson, you never disappoint us.
Yeah, nice job. Spotlight tonight, we've got Ashley Brown.
Hello. So as you might remember, I took a bunch of kids to Spain last spring break. And we have a trip to Italy scheduled this spring break, and we have 12 travelers going to that one. And then in 2026, we have a trip to Ireland scheduled, and we have 16 people going to that one. So after some feedback from travelers and parents at meetings, most of the issue with my goal is to get more people to go. I want as many people, as many travelers as we can to go on these trips because I see the value in those. And most of the feedback I got as a response was cost, or if the deal breaker was parent and student going, it was cost. So after talking to our EF rep, she thought that maybe if we kicked it off sooner and had lower monthly payments, it might help with numbers. So we came up after some discussion with a Grecian Odyssey tour. If you're a visual learner like I am, here you are. So this is a trip scheduled for 2027 to Greece. Over spring break again, we'll fly into Athens and stay for 9 days. And as you can see, we have a cruise scheduled for the last day, and that's really exciting. I think the kids will will have a really great experience kind of touring some of these beautiful places. So my plan is to have a meeting September 25th with interested travelers and present the tour and discuss payment. And we will email and invite students currently in grades 7 through 10. And then our enrollment deadline is October 4th. I'm excited.
What, is there a limit on how many students can go?
No. We have, we've had schools, when I went on my training, I had some people that took 6 kids from their school, and then actually my former English teacher takes like 300 students
Oh, wow.
on this tour, so no. They share busing, and if we have a small group, they share it with another school, and they send me that school's name, and we kind of communicate
I see.
with them and make sure everything makes sense.
Nice. Thanks for being here. Moving on to discussion items.
One thing that I want to share with you, each year we apply for a school safety specialist grant that is put out by the state. And the amount that you can apply for is dependent on the size of your district. And they look at your last official count day. So in February of '24, we were over 1,000 students. So we were eligible to apply for $100,000 this year. And Mr. Davenport and I worked on that grant and put money in for our SROs. And it's a matching grant. So if we get 100,000, we have to match it with 100,000 worth of safety initiatives too. But we had that figured out, submitted the grant. And the grant period is September 1 of '24 through August 30th of '25. And we hadn't received anything for a while, and then all of a sudden something came out from the state and said, well, they had $9 million in asks more than what they had in money in the pot. So things were, everyone's grants were being cut to their first ask, because there were two different lines that, we had our first priority second. So then we got a notice telling us how much we were going to get, and we had to modify our grant. And our grant was cut from $100,000 that we asked for down to $63,180. Coincidentally, that's over $13,000 less than we got last year. And, while the state did a very good job of, you probably heard from many of the people in Indianapolis how much more they were putting into school safety. They didn't put more money into it. They put more ways you can spend the money. And that's a big difference. And, we are very committed to safety here, but I still think our first line of school safety is we're fortunate to have 2 SROs on campus at all time, and we're committed to doing that. So basically what it means with the big cut that we got with this grant, we're still going to have 2 SROs, and the grant's going to pay for one of them, and our match is going to be paying for the other one pretty much. But that means some of the other things that we have done in the past for safety, some things we're still going to be able to do with our operations funds. Some things, though, we're going to have to bypass this year. For example, with last year's grant, we were able to allow our 2 SROs to go to a national SRO conference in the summer. Phenomenal training. They do still get local training through the Fountain County Police Department and through the school safety specialist program in Indiana. But some of those other kinds of things that have been a great opportunity, we're going to have to not be able to do this year. But I still want the board, the community members, all of our stakeholders to know we are still extremely committed to safety. And even though our funding has been cut, it's not going to cut what our priorities are to keep our students, staff, and families safe when they're here on campus. But I try to not be at all political in our board meetings, but I'm urging anyone and everyone to write your representatives and ask them to make funding for school safety a priority. We see what has happened around the nation, and it's very frightening. And, we never want those things to happen here. Our gym is named after an alumni who was in a tragic event. Just tonight, some of you may have received it. I sent out a school messenger that's going out about now. There is a national threat going around on social media, on TikTok and Instagram and some of those other platforms, non-specific, but saying there's going to be some school shut up. That flew through our school. Like, kids saw it on their Instagram and they were all sure that it meant here. We have not gotten any threats for anything happening here. It's all stuff from those platforms. But I want families to know we take every threat seriously. And anytime anyone sees or hears those threats, bringing them to our attention so that they can be investigated by the law offices and so forth. This particular one all superintendents got a notification from the school safety, the National School Safety Bureau, telling me about that alert. I immediately sent it to our school administrators and our SROs and said, be on the lookout. And then sure enough, kids were rightly so scared when they saw those things. And we don't want our students to be scared to come to school. We don't want our staff or our parents to worry about what's happening there. And I just want everyone to know we take every bit of that seriously. And we're being very vigilant in following up on anything like that because we want to have a safe campus, even when our funding is down.
So question, with that SRO and that safety grant being less, is that something that we can legally seek out some donation request to help fund that? Or is that something that would still have to go?
Well, the safety grant itself is a state grant.
But I'm saying
But
on top of
to
that.
get additional funding for some of that, we certainly have partners. Like, for example, tonight you approved from DRLEA that donated to Fine Arts. If we had a donation from someone that said, we want this to go towards
that grant?
X,
Toward
Y,
that,
Z
yeah.
for school safety at Southeast Fountain, then certainly we can do something like that. I hope that answered your question.
Yes.
All right, moving on, statements from the superintendent. First of all, I want to share some congratulations. You might remember last summer, we had some teachers who had completed science of reading training. It's something that the state will eventually be requiring of all elementary teachers, special ed teachers, and anyone who teaches literacy, so our ESL teachers, so forth. But we had a number of teachers who just completed, again, the components, and it took a lot of hours and a lot of modules of work that they had to go through. So each of these teachers who completed got a check from the state, a stipend, and a certificate of completion. So congratulations to Jessica Karen, Kim Dotson, Lauren Holly, Sue Frazee, Amber Carver, and Des Peterson. And we're so grateful for these teachers. With or without the requirement from the state, our teachers go above and beyond because they want to do the best that they can for our students, which is why Mrs. Morgan shared with us about our great iRead scores. So thank you to those teachers. Secondly, I love when I get emails from staff members who want to give a shout out about one of their colleagues. And I would like to share out a shout out that I got. I received from Megan Fischerow, our nurse at the junior senior high school. And she wanted to give a huge shout out of positivity regarding another employee, Tamara Olvera. She said she has been so helpful for me in the nurse clinic. When I need translating help with parents that are Spanish speaking, she never has a problem translating for me. I appreciate all the effort she makes to help out in any way she can. When she is with a Spanish speaking student and they need to see the nurse, she always comes in with them to help with translating. She's a true godsend, and I can't say enough nice things about her. She was once my student, and I'm so thankful she returned to be a coworker. We're very appreciative of an aide that is Spanish speaking. She has been such an asset. So again, shout out to her. And Fountain Central, you can share that with her that she got a shout out in the board meeting. Also, I want to share some IHSAA reports that we received because I also like sharing with you when we get those exemplary behavior reports from IHSAA. The first one came from Matthew Anderson, who wanted to talk about a game held on a football game on August 16th. He said, our officiating crew had the pleasure of working at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for week 0 of the season. That was the night of our scrimmage games. The athletic director for Fountain Central did an excellent job in hosting us officials. We were provided with all the necessary details needed for us to be successful on the field. At one point, we asked if Fountain Central could fix a potential hazard on the field, and in moments, the AD and grounds crew worked to help keep the student athletes safe. We were also provided with refreshments and food. We enjoyed our visit and hope to be back soon. And so they wanted to thank the entire team, coaches, and our athletic director. Then I received a second behavior report, also regarding the boys' football that same night. And this reporting individual was Stephen Edwards from IHSAA. And he said, first, I went to say all of the students from all 3 schools were great with sportsmanship and respect to each other. One individual that we as a crew thought made the best impression with us was number 17, Alan Blankenship, according to the school's roster. He went out of his way to constantly assist teammates and opposing players. We could hear him talk and encourage his teammates when they were getting tired. And he just was a great representative of our school. So I love getting these reports for our teams, our individual athletes. It's just, we have great students and staff here, so I wanted to share that with you. Speaking of great staff, he's not here tonight, but I want to give a shout out to our IT director, Quinn. I received 2 emails today. One came from an area fire department, and the second one came from the VA, both of which I opened thinking, okay, something from fire department, and this weekend we will be honoring veterans, so I thought perhaps it's about that. Well, I struggled with opening, and so I thought, well, I'll come back to this. Well, about 20 minutes later, got an email that both of those were viruses that were sent out. They said, so please don't open these emails when you got them too late. I had opened them 20 minutes earlier. I sent Quinn an email. I forwarded the email and said, I tried to open these 20 minutes ago and just got this. I think he put on a Superman cape because I kid you not, within 2 minutes, Quinn was in my office taking my computer from me and doing some things. And the emails that I got could have sent a virus to everyone that is in my inbox. That means everyone on this campus, every one of you, the banks that I email to, anyone, those kind of things. Quinn got it taken care of immediately, as well as the antivirus software that he's installed. He ran a check on that. It had blocked those things from letting the virus through. He said, we pay a little bit for that because we have the premium. And I was just debating if we should do it. And he goes, but this just proved it was money well spent. So again, like I said, I think he had a Superman cape under there because I sent that email. He was in. I turned around and he walked in my office and he goes, no, I came immediately. So thank you to him. The last thing that I want to share, a reminder to everyone, some upcoming school board meeting dates, because there have been a few changes. Our regular meetings, like you're attending right now for the rest of 2024, October 10th, November 14th, and then our December meeting is being moved back to the 19th. So it'll be the 3rd week of December, and that is because the 12th happens to also be the holiday program here at the elementary. And we want board members, community members to be able to enjoy a holiday program and not compete with that. So we're moving our meeting back. We also those meetings are held in here. We have monthly discussion meetings. They're public discussion meetings. October 1st, November 4th, and December 10th. Those are held in the administration building in what was the boardroom in the past. And then the other thing I want to make note of, on Monday, September 16th, in the administration building, there will be a public hearing at 3:30. We will present to the board the 2025 budget proposal, and then you will have it to until our October 10th meeting is when you'll be asked to vote on that. But that is a public hearing. Anyone that wants to come and see the budget proposal. And then that same day, following that, at about 4 o'clock, we will also be doing the public hearing. It is time for contract negotiations, and Indiana statute requires that before we start official negotiations, that we hold a public hearing that must be attended by myself and one of the leadership members of the Southeast Fountain Education Association. So we plan to be here at about 4 o'clock. There will be available to take public comments. Things will be posted online so that anyone can then see it electronically and reach out to us that way if they want to make comments. They do not have to be in person, though they are welcome to be in person the night that we have the public hearings. So that's all I have.
Everything? Statements or concerns from the board? You don't have anything?
I have nothing this day.
Daggone.
I know.
It's hard to follow a joke like mine.
It is. I had some stuff prepared, but after Bryson's joke, I'm.
Secondhand embarrassment.
I would like to say I did get some compliments from some North Montgomery families that were attending a tennis meet at Fountain Central and just commented on how nice the courts looked and that facility in general. So that's always good to hear positive things from visitors at our campus. So that was good. Nothing else, document signing and adjournment.
Motion?
Second.
Vote. 7-Eleven?
7-Eleven.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Because I made my dinner, I was in a rush. I had to do work stuff. And I put it in here.